So what do you do when you're King of Kings? And you see the patent theft being originated by government personnel upon agencies they create. Like, for instance, healthcare, as it is or was in the United States, was subject to $60 billion worth of fraud annually. That's what they figure, the best calculation. And it's been going on for decades, so we submit that it'd be interesting to do a forensic audit on the parties of the first part responsible for the creation of the fiction to begin with, known as healthcare in the United States, and who saw the loopholes where fraud would be available, and so have been sucking on those loopholes for decades, even if they're only doing $500 million a year themselves. It's $5 billion over 10 years. You have 100, 200 government-run agencies functioning similar to that. And you're going to have a lot of inflation. That means the government borrowing a lot more money than it can afford to help pay its bills. You know, there was one invoice in the Iraq War that was noted on 60 Minutes, where an invoice is $25 million higher than the next highest contractor that would have done the job, transport fuel from one end of Iraq to another. That was $25 million a trip run. We were accompanied by helicopters and tanks and every other damn thing, but it was a privately contracted business that coincidentally 100% of the time went to Halliburton Engineering, George Bush's old stomping ground, and Dick Cheney's old stomping ground. But that's pure coincidence. Has nothing to do with a third arms reach, buying this guy horse shit, the whole 9 yards, for sure. But you understand what's happening is governments, democratic governments, today are in a basic feeding frenzy. You've got the current political leaders trying to suck up all they can get before the shit hits the fan, in their own private little accounts, offshore, likely, under the protection of the corporate umbrella and privileged information, diplomatic immunity even. That's what George Bush seems to suffer from, is diplomatic immunity. You know, in Canada, we have the same thing going on here, but in Canada, all of the police, all of the leaders, all of the politicians, all of the judiciary, all the lawyers, all of the judges turn a blind eye to billions being stolen by their friends. Easily found billions. I could do it in less than 30 days, return $1.2 billion to the people of Ontario from people that have stolen from them, contractors that are currently doing business with them, just padding their invoices. That's how business is done. And the Trudeau years, Robert Campeau was awarded a $25 million, he was $25 million higher than the next highest quote for downtown Ottawa building, and the notification came down the chute that Robert was to get the work, period, end of story. That's how Pierre rewarded his friends, and it's no different today. Only today, they're stealing much bigger. Everything is not nailed down. Just like Russia, when the communist government fell, thieves all over the place. The previous communist stalwarts turned into instant capitalists. Amazing how that works. Stolen millions, trillions actually, from the Russian people. Anyway, So, these leaders are functioning, especially in Ontario, Canada, and we can prove this, in treason to their stated job descriptions, to the principles and the constitution of this country, and to the people in this country. They are currently operating in treason in every domain we just mentioned. High treason, colluding treason, keeping silent to the public's pejorative interest. Not only that, we have policemen molesting and mauling the children in this province. 18-year-old boys killed, 9 rounds pumped into him because he didn't capitulate quick enough to this Royal Dynamo, this cop, and his college of vampires. Like, this was an orgy. And it's on YouTube. It's plain to see. It's a complete exercise of sexual perversion that has been running rampant in the corrections community for probably 100 years. But really, really, really taken on a huge twist and a lot of steam just recently. Like, you have for-profit prisons in the United States, so you have even juvenile detention centers feeding judges commissions on extending the sentences of youthful offenders. Imagine what goes on. 3 lifetime sentences, 500 years in jail, whatever the saga is, to express the state's contempt of itself. You understand? Like, when leaders are stealing embarrassing songs, like the Bush $770 billion to my buddy on Wall Street has to happen tonight, or the world's going to end tomorrow. $30 billion was recovered. No, they didn't hand out cash. I'm sure they were going to checks, and so they had there's paper trails for these transactions. But we're just not interested in following them because, what the heck, it's only $770 billion, and those nice guys, and, we went to school together and shit, why make an issue of it? That's a lot of money for each taxpayer in the United States. Only 10 grand. Just out of your pocket. In one fell swoop. Then you got healthcare, another $60 billion a year. You got the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and CIA, FBI, CIA, FDA, DEA, NSA, spying on their own people, treating their own people as if they're adversaries. Because they are. In these people's minds, the people are there to serve them and shut the fuck up while they're doing it. And this time, what you've got is, with democracy, what you get is hundreds of thousands or millions of petty kings, all without the slightest idea of what king means, is, or what a king does. They just have this fantasy about what a king's power is like. And never having had any real power themselves, they do is they fornicate with whatever's not nailed down once it is. To distract themselves from their loneliness. People are so perverted or they're blinded to the insanity of this. And none of you, all you're walking around stunned like deer in nighttime headlights. 100% of you. Just fucking asleep. Legs wide open, being humped by the Republican elephant. No. Yeah. I don't sell my sex for money, but I do cook for compliments. And I'll tell you something. Right now, there's not very many of you that I'd like to invite to dinner at my house. Most of you got your head so far up your own ass that you would bore me or my other guests to death. And I'm your dad.